of the screen.
Yeah, it's
We're
coming.
live.
Yeah, and I didn't even have time because I didn't have time to do a post or anything. But that's okay because it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
We just got a bunch of stuff scheduled I haven't put on the calendar, which is my reminder to put up the ads. So, but that's okay. We'll get
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just pop in. Let me see the schedule here. Okay, yeah, we're okay. Yeah, see, I had you. Yeah,
I see already
this is
the.
right. Yeah, I thought this was wrong, but this is right. Yeah, okay. What's happening? Yeah, I'm just. It's been a long night, and I think there was a lot of energy in the world yesterday because of these elections.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And excuse me, I'm dying over here. And so I noticed last night. I think I went to bed around 2, and I slept till 11:30, and I had massive lucid dreams, and I had massive transformation going on in my body at an atomic and molecular level. And I know that's not just me. I'm going to put on since we
Yeah.
didn't put an announcement up. I'm going to put the intro on for a minute and 19 seconds. But I've noticed a lot of people and we're going to have a great conversation. I can feel it because for those of you who don't know, this is Henk Verhaeren. He's a very good friend of mine. He's been a big part of
Hi,
soulogy.
everyone.
He's been a big part of soulogy. No, it's okay. He's been a big part of soulogy, and he is part of soulogy. Him and his beautiful partner Annette, for a long, long time. We've probably done 25 shows together, and we just haven't hooked up in quite a few months. Just whatever. We always have a very good conversation, and and I think there's some stuff out there that we can talk about from a European perspective and from somebody who lives in the United States. Because I don't recognize borders. We're all earthlings. But anyway, I think it'd be good to have a conversation because, I don't think it's the red pill or the blue pill. I think it's just another distraction. I think it's the golden white light pill that we all can take.
Yeah.
Versus, but let me put this on. And I just want to say too, there are people being deplatformed. We've obviously been suppressed. We're being suppressed a lot right now. This is not about sending out a message of fear and the boogeyman and negativity at all. We're working on a way. Hank knows I've been talking about this for a long time, but we actually have the website ready, and we're just a few days away from
really?
opening it. Yeah, to give everyone an alternative, and part of that's going to be a profile-based social community. But anyway, having said that, if you could share it to a page or share it to a group just once, that'd be great because we're really being suppressed. And I'll be right back and tell your friends. We'll be right back in a minute and 19 seconds. It's good to be back with Henk Verhaeren, my brother. This guy's like a brother to me. Like very few people are like a brother to me. When you just have like a monadic kindred connection. Yeah, he's been a big part of soulogy. I'm talking about. We've done 2,400 shows, right around there. and or sometime during the month. No, we've done 2,400 shows. As I remember marking it, we have about 2,500 by the end of the year. So we're over 24 now. But
amazing.
But anyway, out of that, I think I've done as many shows with you as I have with anybody. You know, you and two or three other people. So you're a big part of Soulogy's growth and this program's growth. You know, and so I appreciate that. It's good to see you again. And I love being able to talk to you because we can talk about anything. For those of you, and many of you haven't caught shows with Henk, you know, we talked about, you know, lots of things, everything from Hank's Kundalini experience the first time when he wet his pants to, I'm just kidding, to, I got some stories to tell you about sacred sexuality. But anyway, yeah, and just anything and everything. But I think right now, you know, first of all, just formally welcome you back and thank you for coming in on such short notice. Thank you, Annette. And I can't wait for the day when you and Annette come on together because that ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, welcome back and thank you for coming in. There's obviously a big elephant in the room that everyone's talking about, which is this U.S. election. You know, it's really interesting to see the effect that this political race, this distraction, okay, I'll just say it because nobody else will. It's a fucking distraction. And what I mean by that is it's a distraction from the real mission and the real purpose. We're not here to say we're not here to save the world. We're here to come into our own awareness and maximize the potential, actualizing our newfound higher sensitivity, skills and abilities, and to be gods and goddesses in the flesh and stop giving our power away. Exactly. And it's interesting to watch the humanization of the light worker community. And what I mean by that is we call ourselves way showers. We call ourselves first wavers. We call ourselves star seeds. You know, we call ourselves awake. And we say those people aren't awake over there. Yet we're sitting here getting mired in the minutia, in the muck, in the muddy water of some political distraction where we think someone's a good person and someone's a bad person. Let me tell you something. The most important thing that you can have from what's going on in this political presidential race today is to look at Joe Biden and look at Donald Trump and say, I am both of these people.
Exactly.
I am both of these people equally. If I integrate and 0 point these two polarities, I will expand myself. And that's not a cliche, and that's not new ageism. Let's get real. Like, let's not forget why we're here, you know? And I had to say that. I just woke up and I'm, you know, coming out of massive lucid dreams. How you been doing? What do you want to talk about? Thank you for letting me have the floor for that first 2 minutes.
Yeah, that is a great message. And yeah, what we see is that we get distracted outside ourselves while the war is within ourselves. And that's where we have to unite those opposite forces before it will go into the world. But we try to fix the world and we project good and bad outside ourselves. But if we're against Trump, we have to embrace and find the inner Trump. And if we are against Biden, we have to find and embrace the inner Biden, because they are, like you say, all inside us. And especially what we don't want to see, that is really something that we repress. And that is mostly about our upbringing, that some characteristics that we repress. And we see someone else do it, but that is something in us, and that is our shadow, our repressed shadow. And as long as we don't see that darkness, which also has good sides inside ourselves, we're going to project it outside, and it's still going to be a battle between two forces. Who better can work together and unite and make something of it and listen to each other, because it's going so far that people don't even listen to each other, and they just label one person as bad and the other as good, and see that as an excuse to not even listen to them. But
Yeah.
even bad people, if you can call them that, have good ideas, and in getting understanding, we can get compassion and recognize things, and see not demonizing
Yeah.
people. Yeah, exactly what you say.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's
Yeah,
interesting to see the humanization of the light worker community. I don't know. Hang on, CC Reed. I was going to address that. I dreamt there was a video yesterday that got erased. I'm staying neutral, not jumping into any rabbit hole. We did have a show yesterday that I've never deleted a video. It is not totally deleted. It's just been pulled off. It has nothing to do with the energy of the discussion. It has to do with the frequency of soulogy and the fact that this is not a marketing platform. And what occurred after that show, and I have no charge whatsoever, nothing for or against the people that we talked to in the organization, but we had an understanding before the show went on, and it was not held to after the show was over. So I've already received probably 10 or 12 messages from people that want to come on and market their product as a result of that show.
yeah,
And we don't do that here. So we made an exception. I'll probably put it back on at some point, but it has nothing to do with any kind of disagreement or bad feelings. I have all the respect in the world for Dave Sandoval and what he does, period. But thank you for bringing that up. And thank you. I thank you, everyone who sent me messages in regard to that show saying, forget about the content. What a great, what a great show. Two people actually had two people with differing opinions had a spirited conversation.
wonderful.
And did it with respect, love, and honor. And that was really cool to hear all that. But yeah, getting back to what you're saying. Sorry about that, but I thank you, Cece, for
Corona
that
cough.
Corona cough. I think I got corona. I got corona within the first, and I didn't get verified, but I know I did. Morgan and I both did. Morgan even basically one night, and she got hit hard. This is about the last time when we tried to do the show, and we couldn't get anything. We couldn't get it to work that day. So it was like February or March, and
At the beginning,
she got it really bad, and she was like, called her son, kind of put her affairs in order, told me that she loved me, and she'd be coming back every night from the other side. I said, okay, that sounds like fun. But what is that anyway? So so like where are we at with this thing? And I don't mean just the political race. I mean the COVID and the mask and the quarantines and the matrix machinations and the restrictions and the lawless laws. And I mean, dude, we're eternal souls, aren't we? I mean, we're infinite. We're gods, goddesses in the flesh. We're supernatural. We can't be overpowered unless we get permission. When are we going to shift or get off the fucking pot? When are we going to stand up and say, what the hell are you going to do? Kill me? Because I'm just going to come right back. Like how many times have we done this? When are we going to stop living and dying when there is no such thing as dying? When are we going to stop living and dying with every issue on the table? And the fact that it's infiltrated into the lightworker community and the lightworker commentary, expressions, posts, videos, and narrative. I think it's a really good time, and I'd love to hear what your comments are here. I think it's a really good time to remind all of ourselves the responsibility that comes with an expanding awareness, an expanding consciousness, okay? Because that brings so much. When are we going to acknowledge the fact that we actually are part of the program? And one of the best things we can do is keep our fucking mouth shut. Because when we start throwing our beliefs on people, our absolutes, which are not absolute, we actually program our brothers and sisters. When we say that God is for Trump or God is for Biden, there are people that will listen to that You can always find what you're looking for. Whatever your belief system is, you can go out in this
Yeah.
internet age, and you can find something to tell you that you're right. It's like
Yeah.
calling a friend. If I call you up and I say, Hank, here's my situation, here's what's happening, you're not going to tell me what I want to hear. You're going to tell me the truth.
The truth, yes.
And that's what we owe each other. This trying to get other people to climb into your bucket is obviously still a part of the programming, even in the light worker community. And it's time to stand for what we've been talking about all these years. We always do this. Your turn.
Yeah, of course. And the truth above all, and that is going to be revealed, because people that were in the light workers community that could distract themselves from the world can get away with it now, and they have to show and speak out or not. But then you see the real faces, because then the material world they identify themselves with, the temporary, they still hang on to that, and they haven't transcended. And what you say, when do we stand up and kill me because it's my truth, I don't care, and I choose for that, is when we transcended the material world, our body.
Yeah.
Because our soul is immortal and it evolves while it is tested here, while it grows in this dual experience we have here, so we can recalibrate ourselves and grow as a human. So that is what I experience as the test now.
Yeah.
So some people say that politics doesn't belong to the light workers community, but that is already a political statement.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
just
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty to make that statement. I mean, I haven't done it, but I mean, I've thought it and I've wanted to write something about it. And thank you for stopping me from doing it. But you're right. That is a political statement. It's the fact that I say, if I said politics has no place in spirituality, that's an overlay, what Morgan calls an overlay. And
yeah, that's a sort of spiritual thing now, and also things we don't want to see in ourselves, and mostly the ugly things. And politicians represent those ugly sides. But also those ugly sides, the lying, the salesman attitude, has also good parts in itself. So that is a very good projection of our inner being and state at this moment in time. So I think it's wonderful.
I like that because let me change my statement. Politics has a place in spirituality. Why?
I'm going to vote for you.
Well, and I'll tell you why. Because what you're saying, it's not okay. If you're looking at it, if I'm looking at it going, oh, we need this to happen or this person to win so we can save the world, I'm still in a wounded healer archetype.
Yeah, you give responsibility away to someone.
That's right. I'm not taking care of me. But if I'm looking at, we'll just use him as an example. If I'm looking at Trump and I'm looking at Biden, and I'm looking at the both of them, not only for the differences that they seem to represent, but for the things in me that I don't see in myself. The things, if I look at Trump or I look at Biden and say, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'm not deceitful. I'm not, bombastic and loud, or whatever the issues are. Well, we got to remember we're energy. And everything that's being presented to us is being presented to us so we can get closer and closer and closer to true oneness in the physicality. And both of them represent things in all of us that we haven't seen in ourselves. Not to mention the environment, let's call it the chaotic environment that they produce together, not people, as energies. That is, as we all know, the prerequisite for creation itself. The holy womb, the mother's womb, the holy darkness is the place where the masculine and the feminine conceive the golden child. And as we always know, the old sayings, like it's always darkest before the dawn, you know? You know what I mean? It's always seems to get a little bit like that before.
Yeah, we have now a chaotic period, and but that is a transformation process that never comes easy because everything is getting reorganized and restructured, and the new humanity can grow out of that based on love, because that is the golden child of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So also these powers need to acknowledge themselves in the other and to recognize the things they dislike uh, as a part of themselves.
Yeah. You know Franco Di Nicola? You know who he is?
No.
He's probably one of the two people that I've done as many shows with as I have with you. And he's got incredible intel. He does a series called Advancing Consciousness. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. He's got about 80 videos. It's powerful, real-time intel. Anyway, Franco's a unique guy. Other than my wife and myself, I value his intel more than anyone's because it's objective, it's real, there's no sensationalism, and it's balanced. Now, he's a guy who's had memory, conscious memory of since he was in his mother's womb, and he had a twin brother that was stillborn, that died at transitioned it, never lived in the human sense.
Yeah.
He remembers the conversations. He also has recollection of past lives on other planets. And he's been connected to an energy complex, let's just say a compilation of souls, his team, whatever you want to call it. And he's been getting information all his life. Now, he recently did a show. I'm sorry, he did he did do a show with us recently. He's going to be on again later this month, the day after David Icke. And so he got from his team in regard to the election, this would have been like 2 weeks ago, that we as a collective realm, all of us, all 8 billion of us, had not yet decided who was going to win the election. And what he had to say from his team was that no matter what side won, that we would end up at the same place within 2 or 3 years, because transparency would continue to expand. One path would be a little bit more radical because there wasn't really much transparency at all, and the other one would be a little less radical, but they would both end up in the same place. Yes. My point is that I really like that perspective. I align with it. I resonate with it, because I do think it's time that we really do start walking the talk and start operating and embodying our lives with what we've learned up here, acting like we are the gods and goddesses
manifested in the world,
rather than a poor little human that somebody's trying to take my power away, when in fact I've been giving it away. And sooner or later, you got to stop complaining about it, because you cannot be a god or a goddess, a creator, without assuming and owning fully your power. Right?
Exactly. The power and everything there is, because everything comes from that source of oneness and is fragmented in all kind of forms and realities and dimensions to experience itself. So that's why it is still evolving and living, and love is the stuff that binds it all together. But of course, love, we feel betrayed by love and the transparency in the world. So we don't trust each other. So no matter who wins, Biden, Trump, like you say, there's going to be chaos, because the enemy state between the two sides is still there. So instead of connecting and working things out, they start to blame each other on a very one-dimensional manner. So it would be bad, but that is also a representation of what is happening inside of us.
Exactly, that's the point.
To shut off what we don't want to hear, and and to find confirmation of what we all already think we know, but that holds the change, that stops the change, the growth that is constantly. And people want to hang on to what they know because that is familiar for them, and they are afraid of the
Change.
unknown, the change, and the actual shift and the evolution, and yeah. So
Well,
when
I
it
mean,
happens, yeah, they're gonna resist towards parts.
yeah, and and they say the old saying, well, that's human nature, and it is human nature, but we're not only human, and this is the point, and this is
Yes,
the this is not. I mean, look, I look at some of these comments, and I'm not going to point in, make a point of anyone in particular, and myself too. And that's the most important thing. And I do it every day with people. I see people, they make me uncomfortable. There's something in them that I'm still not okay with. What does that mean? That means that I don't think I'm them, and I
yes.
don't think they are me.
The illusion of separation. That's the
Yes,
whole
exactly.
ego-based, selfness that we think that we are, and that is the whole joke. Because if we say that about someone else, it's actually what we're saying about ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's
And I think this is why, on one hand, you pull up this conversation like you brought up at the beginning of the day, at the beginning of the show, and you really made me think. And I'm thinking to myself, politics has no place in spirituality.
well, then we
But
think we are superior to
well, that's my
politicians,
point.
to
But
people.
actually, it actually does, because this is a gift. I mean, look, we have sat here. I say sat. There's been a lot of work done. I'm the biggest cheerleader. I think we showed up, that we need to respect, love, honor, revere ourselves. We showed up. There's a
Oh yeah,
whole infinite universe of souls out there that either isn't up to come yet, or didn't want to come. Okay. This is a tough place, but so we
yeah.
showed up. We, since 2012, let's just say, and many people, don't get me wrong, have been doing it since before that, got downloads before that, like Morgan and many other people that come on this show. But what I'm trying to say is we've done a lot of work. I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm really not. What I'm trying to say is the bar's been raised in 2020. The universe has stepped in and said, okay, I love what you've done. You guys have done a great job, but we're fixing to raise the bar now. We're about to go into virgin territory, and we're going to ask you to walk your talk. We're going to make you walk your talk. And I think that's what's such a great thing about what's happening, not just in politics, but in the world in general. When are you going to take your power back?
Yes.
The universe is saying, when are you going to be a conscious co-creator that takes full responsibility, has full accountability? And when are you going to focus on the real universe, which is you, and stop distracting yourself with what's going on outside? Because if anything comes to you from the outside, can it really take your power over? And what do you need to do to retain and expand your own power in response to whatever presents itself? I mean, this is gold. Right? I mean, this is absolute gold.
Yes.
And I'll just say one last thing, and I'll hand it back over to you. No matter what happens, half the energy in this world is going to be on one side and half's going to be on the other. And there's a small, powerful minority that holds this central line. I call it Soul Highway. Morgan calls it 0 point. And it might be just as thin as a hair now, but it's going to get wider and wider and wider. And it's so important for us to stay in our power, to continue to work on strengthening our love of self, because that's where it starts, by removing from our field the things that take away from that, which are really all right here and programmed in our heads, such as neglecting ourselves, sabotaging ourselves, and things like that. This is how we expand the universe in this opportunity we have in this realm.
But the world is a tricky place and very complex, and people think what they see, that is the reality, is just part of the reality. It's the outer layer of the deeper reality within, which is eternal, which is in that 0 point, like you say, which is actually nothing you can hold on to there, only on the truth and your true essence, your being. And to stand in that is to stand, on a really narrow place. And the temptation to choose for one side or another side is very strong. But then things get out of balance. It's just like, how do you call that thing in the kindergarten?
Yes, teeter-totter.
Yeah,
teeter-totter.
because it can only work. The wheel of the universe can only work when the connection is in the middle, and that is that 0 point, the eye of the storm, where people are. You need to choose the soul above the material, because once you hang on to the material, you're stopping the wheel from turning.
That's right.
So that is the place of the mystic and
well, and potentially, and this is a very unique situation. We're all mystics now. We all have it available and accessible in the energetic field.
Yes.
To uphold and embody the things you're talking about. Look, here's a comment. Here's a comment by B. Buckmaster, our friend in England.
Yeah.
And to me, this kind of tells, this is the kind of thing that to me would most benefit us to be talking about, and as opposed to talking about external things, regardless of what they are or how important we think they are. Yes, I've been having freaking big self-judgment arise today. To be cleared, it's got to go. So this, like anything that, okay, so if I'm judging anyone, I am absolutely in self-judgment, whether I'm conscious of it or not. If I'm not conscious of it, if a friend like you says to me, Todd, you're being judgmental about whoever, Biden or Trump or whoever, whatever. And you say to me, because I'm your friend and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, Todd, you're really in self-judgment. And I say to you, no, I'm not. Or I say, well, if I am, I'm unconscious of it. My priority in that moment would be to find it, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's another thing too. We have this oneness communion working with the universe, that when we ask the universe, however we may do that, if I say to the universe, I know I'm unconscious about something in myself, I'm judging myself because I'm judging this person or that person, will you please help me find it?
Yeah, then you're opening up and the universe will show it. That's right.
That's right.
But the danger is with, she's saying, I'm having freaking big self-judgment. Yeah. It's got to clear, then it's also a part in herself that she wants to push away. Yes. Maybe she has to open up to it and the inner wound and see what's going on, why she has this self-judgment, because maybe that's the inner child that wants to tell her something and can transform with love. Maybe she has an opinion that she doesn't like, but it is okay to have an opinion. It can help us to get closer to the truth, and to speak with someone who has another opinion doesn't mean that you don't love them or respect them or judge them if you're open to the deeper truth behind that. And that is also a bit that people trying to hold things within, they shame themselves for it and they don't say it, but then it's also is going to fester. Is that the word of it? That it's going to grow and
fester. Yeah, it's gonna fester. That's pretty good. That's an American word from the deep south. It's gonna fester. If you don't clean that wound, it's gonna fester. But now you bring up a really good point. There's no coincidence. So I can't remember if it was 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. I don't think it was last night so much. Last night, there's been a lot of powerful stuff going on when we connect at night, Morgan and I. There hasn't been a lot of talking, but there's so much information coming in. One of the things
Yes.
that I got was what you're talking about, and I think there's a reason that you brought it up, and it triggered it in my head. So it's not enough to become aware of the judgment you have of yourself. I'm not saying it's not enough. It's not complete, because you're right. So I was 2-3 nights ago. I'm connected, and I'm being shown that all this stuff, which had to do with things I'd done in my life, crazy things, wild things, and in that process, because I've watched it before, I made my peace with myself. I've made my peace with those other mirrors of myself who were involved in those entanglements. But what was different about the last 2 or 3 nights was that I was then shown the value of the experiences. Yes. And then I was offered to hold it in as high a regard as any other part of me, including, let's say, a galactic aspect of myself, or a divine essence aspect of myself that's embodied in me. But that regardless of what it looked like and what it felt like, that was I ready to accept it in equality with all other aspects of me, the really high light, to be accepted on the same level as what was once perceived as a horrible darkness, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah. And it was then in that state and that time, you had to experience it in the human form to find out if it is real. And that's the very valuable lesson you can learn from it. And that's why you probably won't do the same mistake.
Yeah.
Although perhaps
they weren't mistakes. They weren't mistakes. They were just. But no, I won't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't though.
No.
I mean, and we wouldn't do that. But at the same time, I don't look at it and go, "Ooh, I don't want to look at that."
No, and that's why now you can have compassion for people who do that without rejecting them immediately, because they have done something you think you never done. Because in any situation that people can come, they are capable of doing many things that other people do that they think that they won't do, but it depends all on the situation we are in. And from the perspective, and when the consciousness is raising, then we don't do that anymore. But it's easy to say without first experiencing it.
That's right.
So yeah. So that is wonderful. That's great. That's why it is such a great test or school or learning process we go through now with this period on Earth. It's wonderful because the whole world is connected now. We're living all the same experience, so we have the power now to transform that. And that's why the connection is also so important, that it stays open and that we keep sharing the all kind of perspectives, because they're all facets of the diamond of life that is forming under this pressure.
Yeah. Well put. Yeah, and even things like we're watching people be deplatformed, censored, suppressed. And not to get caught up in that. One of the people on the Soulgy team who's working on the website, Marina, who is the website, basically. Yeah. I said to her the other day, I think we need to speed up. Let's speed this up, because we could put it out today, make a couple of changes and we're ready to go, whatever. It's nothing major. We're just trying to time it, like on 11/11, a few days before David Icke, or just feel the flow. And I said to her, we got a strike in the Soulogy group. We got one on YouTube. I just have a feeling we're getting suppressed. We're not getting the notifications out. It takes 30 minutes for people to find out that we're on a show. I think we better speed this up just in case something happens. And she said, in her infinite, divine, feminine, goddess energy, she said to me in so many words, why would you even create? Why would you even put that into the field of creation? Like, in other words, Soulogy is about love. Love is greater than algorithms. It's greater than being deplatformed. It's greater. It's going to communicate itself through the energetic field, even though it may not be by the conventional methods or what you think is the way that it works. Internet versus the ether net, right? And
Yes.
so I said to myself, yeah, you're right. Like, in other words, why give it any energy? Just keep moving along. Because look, we've, over the last 10 years especially, developed, because of the gift of the internet and because of the gift of Facebook, people, by the way, for everyone that bashes Facebook. There's two
Oh
sides
yeah.
there. There's two sides
Yeah.
to everything. But we've learned to we have developed mostly in a natural, unconscious way the
Natural
lines
way.
of communication that are not that have nothing to do with the five senses. In other words, when you and I interact, there is an invisible energy that's going back and forth and back and forth, and we're merging information and we're sharing code. And even when we get off, and even when we haven't done a
Oh yeah.
show, or even when we
Yes.
haven't done a show or talked for 8 or 9 months, what
Yeah.
do? We get on, and it doesn't even miss a beat, right? So that energy is continuing to move even when we're not in front of each other. And if anything happened to the whole internet, whatever, we have already gotten a start on how to
Yes.
communicate, merge, live, love each other, connect with each other without time, space, without visuals, without the earthly stuff, so
From the infinite, from our true ascension, true essence, we communicate already. So the soul that is already connected. So yes, and but the danger with investing in a career, in things, in success, is that then sometimes we gonna try to yeah sell out out of fear of losing something. But maybe sometimes it is. When is it worth that? Yeah, I think whenever people betray the truth, then it is not so good. The truth in humans and the truth of food. That because then we also deny a part inside ourselves.
yeah,
And but it's a thin line we have to walk, of course.
yeah. Yeah, and I think another thing too, Morgan brought up a great point last night, and it's not, you know, a new one. I mean, I've heard it, I've felt it before, but I think at this time it's important to restate it because she brought it up at this time, and that there's no coincidences, right? Because she's pulling in information every day, like
Yeah.
some other, particularly women around the
She.
world. But what I'm getting at, in relation to what's happening now, she said, I think we all make this decision of what's going to happen. Like from the higher
Absolutely.
higher
Yes.
level, where it's everything that's going on, and this goes along with Franco de Nicola's intel. He's always said that, just like he said about the election. We haven't figured out. The information came in 2 weeks ago, and what he got was we haven't figured out who we want yet. Which path do we want to take? Everything that's going on, we're arranging.
Yeah, and
And that is,
we can put it outside ourselves, and that's still what people try to do, to
yeah,
give the responsibility to someone
yes,
else,
there you
usually
go.
out of fear of standing up in their true, real self and being themselves, and yeah, letting someone else do that for them.
Yeah.
So they are in the safe zone, but that is also a way of selling out. And oh, Morgan is in Australia, is she now or not?
No,
Is
she's
she?
not in Australia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, 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 no. She's been
Or-
we've been together uninterrupted now. Uh, let's see, all of 2019. God, we've been together. Wow. So all of 2019, all of 2020, except for 57 days in 2019.
Oh yeah, but that was before the lockdown because
Yeah. And that's
yeah,
and look, there's another example. There's people all over the world that are kind of stuck, but the
yeah,
universe has put them right where they're supposed to be.
exactly. You're always on the place you have to be,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
because otherwise you wouldn't be there. And there's always a way out. And some places are not nice, and we can when we get as much conscious as we can, then we can prevent a lot of suffering from happening.
Yeah.
Because there are some patterns in the human history that are repeating themselves over and over again. Yeah, I'm studying this for a book I'm writing now about the witchcraft in Europe and in America, which was really scary period. But it's not so long ago. It's only a few lifetimes, if you look at it, ago.
Yeah.
The war is only one life ago, 90, not even that. So, but it are still, those patterns are repeating themselves, and it's always that projecting the enemy outside ourselves. And yes, so and that is why it is really the consciousness is at the base of everything, and the most important there is, because that is what it brings the understanding, the compassion, the love, that everything is connected, and that everything is ourselves looking, is God looking in the mirror at itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I really feel more every day that the the power, like when an individual soul powers up in the moment in regard to whatever's presented to it, I really feel that the impact that soul has in that moment on the new grid is exploding. Like I just want to like jump up on a pulpit and say, look, do not underestimate the power of your soul. One soul can alter the whole realm.
Yes.
And there's a lot more momentum not in terms of right or wrong, but in terms of truth. Like when you're in your truth, no matter what the situation may be, and you choose yourself and you power up in a moment, you are affecting like never before every single other aspect in this realm and beyond.
Yes. Then you align with the universe, and the universe will put you right on the spot where you are in the center, in the 0 point. And what I wrote some time ago was the problem with saving the world is people waiting for someone else to save it.
Yeah.
That's also, it's all inside ourselves, and taking the responsibility, and acting, walk the walk, talk the talk, or how do you say that?
Yeah. Shift or get off the pot.
Shift or get out
Off
of the
the pot.
pot, of
Off
the
the pot.
pot.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Or get off
No,
the pot.
no. Well, I say shift or get off the pot. I try to be,
Okay.
but that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I get it.
No, that's cool. And that's cool that you're writing another book. I know you've written more, but you've written 2 books since Awakening, I guess is what I'd say, right?
Yeah.
This will be your 3rd book. Yeah. I got to tell you too that I love your little memes that you put up with your picture.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
and I think I really love it because I understand I don't know if it's sarcasm. I've always had this thing about intelligent humor. Like you're actually saying some things like you're saying now, very wise, and you say them in a way that you kind of go, huh? like,
Yeah.
like, did he just say that? Did he just like take a shot, But I really like those that you put out. And you put one out the other day similar to what you said that you just said right now, and it was perfect. It's probably the best one I've ever seen you do. But yeah, I love those things. You ought to just do a book full of those.
Yeah, that would be
You
nice.
know,
Yeah, they're coming up all the time. So when I look at something, then I get some information and I write it down. So
so what is your what? I mean, 2020. God, we haven't talked all year, but 2020 has been just like mind blowing, hasn't it?
incredible. Yeah, amazing.
I mean,
It's
what are the standouts in 2020? Like, like what are the biggest things that have happened to you on a personal level? I mean, like in terms of like expansion or triggers or experiences, like Kundalini experiences or running into a reptilian or things like that. What's been the biggest stuff for you to go on this year?
Yeah, what I've noticed this year is that the people around me who were more or less doing their thing the way they do it are also now confronted because of the changes in reality that they have to go inside and see if what they believe is really true. And it's also they are getting tested and they cannot hide behind the role they were playing in society. So that's wonderful. And it brings a lot of trouble because there's the resistance and the denial of the ego. But when they face it, you see, when they face their fear or their problem, they see that they can handle it. So they are not tested for nothing. And yeah, you see always that the truth comes out
Yeah.
better and stronger.
Has there been like in regard to the quarantine and mask and COVID and rules and all that in your country or in your community? Uh, has there been a lot of that going on?
A lot,
And
yeah.
B, I'm asking you. I mean, are you guys having to? Oh, well, let me ask you that first. Are you guys having to comply with a lot of quarantine restrictions and mask and all that?
Yeah, I don't comply with it because it's not according to the law. It's not
Okay, but are you? But are you?
so.
Are you?
But I, of course, I take responsibility for everything I do. So I make
Absolutely.
sure that people don't suffer
Yeah.
unnecessarily.
No, I got
So
you. But where I was going with it was have you noticed as a result of the restrictions and quarantines and mask and programming or whatever you want to call it, have you noticed this year that people of all groups in your community or in your country, is it starting to have an effect on them in terms of them saying, I'm choosing myself? Like, in other words, starting to think for themselves, starting to question why they're doing things. Are you noticing anything like that?
oh yeah, because people are getting more and more information, and they see that what they're doing, that some people act purely out of fear, and out of fear they again give their responsibility over their life for someone else who has to save them and who has to say you have to do this and that, and then everything is going to be fine. But that's not how it works. So they see all those leaders saying then this and then that and contradicting themselves. And you can see that there is also some people who are really not taking it anymore because they don't want to live like factory farming in a mask and then hiding in their houses and that
I was just
that
curious. I would think and I know every area is different, but are you
yeah.
starting to see some of that in Melbourne, where
Oh
Morgan's
yeah,
from?
yeah.
And you're starting to see it in other places. England, London is another one.
Yes, all over the
So
world. Huh?
yeah, so it's like here we go again with what we were talking about. We're not talking about specific issues in terms of like the literal standpoint from the human perspective, but the energetic standpoint. So if we look at the election and we look at all the chaos that seems to create and whatever, and you say, okay, let's replace that with the quarantine and the rules and regulations. What is the result? So with the quarantine and the mask and all, there is a growing, more conscious,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a good thing.
collective
Yeah.
awareness. Yeah, and so at some point, I feel that would only make sense that from this chaotic pool of whatever you call it, that's been constructed by these two polarities, red and blue, whatever, that at some point it's going to take us to the same place,
Yeah.
that we're going to choose ourselves over these external things that are occurring that have been distracting us from ourselves. I mean, at some point, it's not going to matter what's trying to distract us. We're going to continue to choose ourselves, and maybe there's going
Yes.
to be more and more intense things to
Probably
force
yes. And then
us.
people are with their back against the wall, and then they have no other choice than to choose for themselves, because otherwise there is no themselves anymore, and that can wake them up, and then they find back the love that it is inside themselves, and that they have more power than they think, and they don't have to give it to someone else, some sort of father figure that is going to make sure that they are going to be safe all the time and everything is arranged, and that there are no problems, because that is not how life works. The more alive you are, the more insecurity there is, because there's a lot of possibilities and movement and ways. The more security, the more dead you are. Then if you lay in your grave, then you have a security, because nothing can happen. Nothing, nobody can hurt you, but you cannot move anymore. So then you live out of fear, and we have to live out of love and trust life and the universe and the cosmic laws itself that are carrying us, and not because that otherwise is betrayal of the universe to choose for fear. That's the trick of the devil, and we have nothing to lose, because we are going to die. That's also something, as a person, as in this temporary form, because but that is just the
No, I
soul.
totally get that, and I love that
Yeah.
line. That line from God, what movie is it? I can't remember. But the guy says, in other words, he says, "Get on with living or get on with dying."
Oh
And he's
yeah.
saying exactly what you're saying. He's saying, you can either constrict yourself and pull everything in and be overly cautious and in fear, or you can just let it go and blow it wide open. Which
Yeah.
going back to what we talked about earlier.
Exactly,
When,
and that doesn't mean you're going to do crazy things then immediately, because there's a natural force inside all of us that takes care of itself and of others. Because yeah,
well, I think if it came down to it, uh, you know, well, to me it would make more sense to do the crazy thing than to stand back and think about doing something you'd like to do and not do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
thinking is also doubt, and that's where it all
Yeah.
starts. Then we have to choose something instead of being, and being our pure selves is just yeah,
A lot of
unrestricted
a lot of
soul.
people a lot of people talked about. I mean, every month this has been the cycle of this show, which I guess is parallel to the collective energy, just as your life, my life, and but what's happened is every month this year we get through the month and we're like, oh my God, that was the biggest month ever. And then the next month comes, and then the next month comes, and every time on the show, we always end up talking about the last month, you know. And October was huge. Like October was intense. There was a lot of stuff written about it, and a lot of stuff, in terms of what people talked about in regard to October. Was October intense for you? Was it the biggest month of the year? Did anything happen to you on an energetic level, individually, or even with your relationship? Was there anything that just stands out from last month?
Yeah, for me, not much changed, but for the people around me, and that makes me more to stick to the truth that I am in, and to stand up for them as what I believe in, and not comply for things that are not in line with the essence of life itself. So.
Yeah.
And in that way, they see that that way of living is better, and in that way, they choose for life instead of slowly dying and living in fear and letting others think for them, like so-called the scientific people who know that that is just another form of religion becoming another form of religion. They just have blind followers, but you can think for yourself, and then you can find out the truth as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Right
So,
on.
and I'm not saying that the scientists are bad or religion is bad. It's just if it's if it's not experienced from inside out and in full awareness, then it's not in a line with who you are, because then you're just doing things because everyone is doing them.
True
And
that.
that is also running with the crowds is that's what I see a lot. People are running with the crowds, and they're running with the crowds very easy, and that is shocking me sometimes, because there was no mask rule here in Holland, and then they say on the news, yeah, you have to wear a mask. Well, no matter if it works or not, then suddenly people really are doing that from one day to another. And the day before that, because they said it wasn't necessary, they just did it because someone else has said it, not because.
That's what Morgan was talking about last night. She was talking about how a couple of days ago she saw when she was connecting that night when we connect that how easily we accept the overlays given to us.
Yeah, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what. Well, of course, coming into that awareness is a great thing for any of us.
Oh,
But
that's right.
but
Yes,
I think
but
yeah, what you're getting at though, like this is what you're getting at, and it's like you know, so somebody makes an announcement, and everybody just does what they say without thinking. Like
yes,
I think what I was getting at earlier, this is a great segue, is that people are starting to go, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Like
yes,
this
that's it.
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't
And
make
then
sense.
that creates another field of chaos because then you have, oh, I'm going to go protest or I hate this or I hate that or you know what I mean? And because all that's got to be worked out too.
Yeah, they
It's
can't
not
follow
about
the
the
easy
you know what I mean?
way anymore. Yes,
It's not about the blue and the red. But when you get to a certain level of awareness, you start to realize what's beneath the blue and the red, and then what's beneath that. And ultimately, like you said at the top of the show, it takes us back. It's an opportunity for us to look at ourselves and not just say it, not just be, oh, I'm a new age person or I'm a light worker, and here's my cliche for the day. The universe has come in and said, you know what? It's time to walk the talk, or it's going to be more distorted is a nice way to say it.
yes, and
But
it
I
connects
do
everything.
I do believe, and I think you're a good representative of this. I believe that regardless of whatever is going on, there are people on this earth that have been working on themselves and have done enough honest work on themselves that they are becoming masters at being able to be the eye in the hurricane, regardless of what the circumstances or consequences of their life are in the moment,
Yeah,
no matter what it is, they are mastering and being able to be a column of light, being a stable, illuminated point on the earth grid. I see evidence of that um, every day.
yeah, and they are big examples, role models for everyone, because that can give people strength. And once you know that you cannot lose anything, and that the temporary form uh, is just something you have to let go of, and you let go of before it is gone, then you're living in the reality that is self-created. with all the freedom and all the love. No matter what happens, no matter what other people do, they cannot take that away from you, because you have the freedom to choose what you feel, what you think, how you represent yourself.
Yeah. Man, we I don't know how it happened. We stopped consistently doing shows, but we should be doing a show once a month. But talking with you is like medicine for me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I'll talk to Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. There's something about I don't know. We've always had a natural flow. So okay. So where can do you have a website? Where can people find you?
Yes. I think it's called Global Awakening, or Henk Verhaeren, my name. Then, the master of destruction.
Oh my God. Okay. So I tell you what, I know Annette will either be watching this or is watching this.
She's doing great, by the way, Annette. She's making great progress, and she's doing things she usually would not do in her life. So she's growing, and we can see how she is evolving. So maybe I hope she's on the show one time.
Well, I think maybe next month you and her should come on together.
Yeah.
Or maybe if she wants to come on alone, that's fine. How's the sacred sex going? No, I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Be on here another hour.
Yeah, then it wouldn't be secret anymore. Then it's going good. Yeah.
So
with masks. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's making me laugh. My stomach hurts. Our beautiful sister Sophie Thornalley wants to know what the name of your new book is.
Hey, Sophie.
Yes.
Yeah, it was called. It is called about the woman who died as a witch, who was killed in Holland for speaking her truth.
Wow.
In a time of the Black Plague was there, and they always searched for a scapegoat. And she said things that, in clarity of mind, and the people in the village started to accuse her.
Yeah.
And then they said, "But I am not a witch, so I need to go to the trials, to the tests." She said that, so I can prove that I'm not. But those tests were corrupt, and they torture people to tell them that they are witches, and then they have to betray other people. But that book is called The Woman.
And that will plug it in.
Yeah. And the other one was The Next Step in Human Evolution. You had Global Awakening, Awakening, the Master of Destruction. And part 2 is Global Awakening, the Next Step in Human Evolution.
Yeah, you got Global Awakening, Master of the Universe.
Master of Destruction.
Master of Destruction.
That is what we are in right now.
Yeah.
The destruction of the illusion and the truth that will, and that goes along with some chaos.
Slightly.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go practice secret sex with a mask on.
Yeah.
I just got a visual. I just cracked it. So yeah, if anybody's interested in can't find Henk online, I know he's on Facebook, and you can always message me, and I can connect you. His books, you have books they're on Amazon too, aren't they?
Yeah. I have some books written in Dutch, but that's also already from 1992. So.
But Masters of Destruction and the other book, Global.
Yeah.
Those are those
Global Awakening. Yeah. They are also on Amazon. Yes.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. Okay. All right, brother. Give Annette a hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
And,
thank you. Same to you. And your lovely public and Morgan.
Yeah.
And hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
I see you. I feel you. And brothers.
Right on, man. Love you.
Okay.
Peace.